Make sure it gets
That's like 12 shows.
Okay, it's live. It says live.
Does that mean people actually could see us?
If there's actually a person. Okay, here we go.
John.
Boy, I'm gonna actually have to download this from YouTube. That'll be so weird. I haven't done that for so long.
To do this? Are you sure?
I know, this is crazy.
It's been a long. How long has it been?
It's been a while.
You seem a little dark tonight, John. Are you okay?
Mm-hmm. All right, here I got my blueberry bye. I'm ready to go. All right, John, edit here. Hello and welcome to Techlandia. How are you doing today? I am Grumpy Old Teacher number 1. My name is John Samuelson, the artist formerly known as iPadsammy. On your Twitters, when I used to enjoy Twitter, I was iPadsammy. Now that I don't enjoy Twitter, I'm just John Samuelson myself. Thank you. Oh, thanks for the sound effects. We have sound effects tonight. We're kicking it old school on YouTube Live since Blab has been. I don't know. You know what, Scott? Blab turned into something where I think we've got way too many services doing the same thing, and I felt like they were getting the podcasters there. And I would have paid for it, and yeah, they just kind of quit everything without really saying too much. They just kind of rumored it, quit everything, took their bat and ball and went home. It's kind of what Blab did. And then they came back with like a hockey puck, and I was like, "There's a hockey puck with no hockey stick." I don't know. I'm just like done.
And now, are people even using the service anymore?
I don't know if people are using this service. Briggs told me to give this one more chance and see if it was going. So I'm going to give YouTube Live one more chance. The artist formerly known as Google Hangouts, right? So can we call you Scott Bedley, co-host Grumpy Teacher number 2? Could we call you the artist formerly known as Toss Fair? But you're still doing Toss Fair. So then
I still am doing Toss Fair.
There you go. I still work with iPads.
And I'm good. I'm glad you do. They're still viable.
They're still viable. I don't know. You know what's not viable? iPad 2s are becoming harder to use in the classroom.
Since you can't upgrade to the new operating system.
It's really noticeable this year as opposed to last year where I still use them. So anyway. Scott, what is your main thing to grump about tonight? Let's start off with you this time. This is more about you than it is about me.
It's not about me.
So
we're not doing introductions, like coming to you from Portland.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me kick it. Let me kick it to my neighbor in the south. I know it's been so long. I can't even remember how to podcast anymore. It's so bad. So bad. I'm lucky I found my microphone, to tell you the truth. Blue Snowball microphone. You know what that means? That means I just got a nickel every time I mention a Blue Snowball. Oh, did it again. Okay. I'm gonna make money on this podcast yet. You know how much money I've made podcasting, Scott?
I'm gonna go with negative several hundred.
Almost negative, like $1,000. How do people do it? I don't know. I'm not Bill Simmons. I can't do it. Bill Simmons can make it work.
Wow.
So anyway, Scott, tell us what's going on with you. Nothing's going on with me. Everything's boring. What's going on with you?
Well, John, let's talk about what's right in education. No, John, I know you had. I know you had this thing that you needed to talk about, and it was really about someone who had ripped on the World Series game, and they had tweeted something out, John, and they basically said, if people cared as much about education as they do about this World Series game, and it just rubbed you wrong, John. Does it not rub you wrong anymore? Is it that far back? We haven't even got to celebrate the Cubs winning the World Series. That's what's going on.
I know that was fun. That was fun. Yeah, I don't know, but I had totally forgotten about that story until you just told me. Yeah, that really, really irked me. It said, what did they said something? They said basically what you said. If everybody cared as much about Game 7 about education as they did about Game 7 of the World Series, what was it like? We'd be in better shape. Well, I didn't even remember what was the end to it, Scott. Do you remember?
I mean, it's basically, that education, would be better. I'm going to look it up right now for you, John. I'm going to be a
Okay.
fact
Look it
checker.
up. Yeah, go ahead and look it up. I just, yeah, I was going to reply something like, did you hurt your neck looking down on the rest of all of us by, doing that? I don't understand, like, what comments like that. See, this is where social media is, Scott Bedley, and the election just happened on Tuesday. We won't even go into that, but do you know how bad social media has just gotten lately? It just seems like it's not fun. And then I see things to tell people to get on Twitter, like educators, you should get on Twitter, and I'm like, gosh, I don't know why. Why would I tell people to get on Twitter? They can go to a Pinterest board and get information, and then they don't have to kind of deal with that stuff.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if educators should be on Twitter anymore, and I don't know what the educators on Twitter. I'm not, I'm just saying a lot of people that I see. I don't know what their deal is. Well, I mean, maybe saying whatever you want whenever you want to, without a filter, is a bad thing. At least you can take stuff back. I don't know. At least in Voxer, if you're a pro, you can recall your message.
Yeah.
Right? I've recalled some messages.
Yeah.
I thought the better of them.
I think we all do, just, because it's nice to have that opportunity.
Yeah, it is. I like a take back. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but I do think when you say stuff like that to just the general public, I don't think that it helps the cause of teachers. I don't think it's helping. I don't think it's helping, like, ooh, I wish everybody cared about education. Well, I don't know. People have their own lives to deal with. They don't. And you know what? If they need a little escape by watching Game 7 of the World Series, then you know what? And the Cubs winning for the first time in 108 billion years, you know what? Let's let them celebrate a little bit. But to just come down on, like, everybody for watching the World Series and then, oh, I wish we cared about education. Well, I don't know. I want to ask the person that tweeted that tweet, what have you done for I mean, what are you doing to further education? Are you, what are you doing? Are you making up hashtags to glorify yourself more? Or, I mean, what are you doing in your, like I said before on my grumpy teacher rant? Are you taking care of your own backyard? Why don't you start if we all took care of our own backyards at our jobs and what we were doing, education wouldn't be in this predicament that it's in. And the predicament is it just gets ignored it doesn't matter what president gets elected. It's just going to be ignored.
Right.
Pretty much, I feel like. So I don't know. But yeah, that tweet, that rubbed me the wrong way. There are many times when I see some things, like I saw something today where it said, like, oh my gosh, look at this quote. I love it when an Ed Camp keynote starts off with a quotation, from Star Wars or something. And I'm like,
it was Batman. It was
right.
Batman.
Oh, it was Batman. It was Batman. And then I'm like, why are people keynoting at Ed Camps? There's no keynotes at Ed Camps. I mean, then I feel like now everything's kind of getting derailed from where it was. And I don't know. Should there be keynotes at Ed Camps, Scott? I don't know. Maybe that could be debated. I don't know. But there's not supposed to be.
I mean, if you look at the intent, right, is to create this atmosphere where people are discussing and sharing, and the room is smarter than the individual, right? That whole thing. Mm-hmm. I do have the quote for you, John.
Okay, here it comes. The tweet.
It says this, the tweet. It says, I wish everyone not in education would care as much about education as they do about the hashtag World Series. Just saying, hashtag so and so and so.
Right. Hashtag just saying.
Hashtag just saying.
When you say hashtag just saying, you're really being like, I don't mean to be a jerk, but, and then you say what you're going to say. That's when you say just saying, that's kind of the same thing.
I don't mean to offend you, John, but
right.
That outfit you're wearing tonight is not really, spectacular.
Yeah. No, it's not. But at least I know it and I own it.
Marnie loved it.
Yeah, Marnie loved it. Grumpy Bear. I brought this just for grumpy old teachers, the Grumpy Bear costume. I'm going to wear it every single time.
I love it.
But yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't know, Scott. We're gonna start off. We're gonna start off really grumpy, huh? With that one. But I don't know what to say other than I think that that's just kind of a bogus thing to say. I wish everyone not in education. Blah 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 blah. Okay,
Yeah,
that's you're not helping. You're not
get
helping.
everybody. Yeah, if you're trying to get everybody on board, let's stop making wishes. And like, I think there's a reason people aren't connected with education, and it may be related to the fact that educators have difficulty, being transparent, and that's been hard for me in my career, is to always be transparent and things like that. So, it's just a matter of trying to figure out ways to be more transparent, show what we're doing, so that people that aren't in education understand how complex things are and how difficult they are, and how much you want to do everything you can to impact the lives of kids and provide this just high quality education, and how many roadblocks get thrown at you in that process. Like, John, how many roadblocks do educators out there face just to do the simplest tasks, and all of a sudden you got to jump through all these hoops just to do that?
It's amazing sometimes what prevents. You would think that you could get some time to. I mean, what about even just like, let's say, Scott, let's say you and I, let's say I taught, heaven forbid, I taught fifth grade with you, right? And I was one of your teaching partners. I mean, there's been times when I know that I haven't even had the same prep as the people on my team just to
Right.
meet with them and things like that. I think that that's less of an occurrence now than it was like 10 years ago. But I can remember when, everything was all over the place, and just to have a simple conversation with your coworker. I mean, what your coworker might have to go pick up their kids from the babysitter, and they might be in a rush, and and you might want to stay after school, and you might want to plan, and you might want to do this, but you have to go and get this form in about this data, or you have to go and watch, like I'm under the gun right now. I've got to watch my videos for like child abuse for, the 23rd, 24th straight year. I pretty much know them. You know it by now.
Right.
I have to go watch these videos. It's going to take up an hour and a half of my time. And thank gosh, we can do it electronically now.
Yeah, do
But
the
I mean,
quizzes.
right, do the quizzes, and I'm right. They're about as good as the quizzes to become an Apple teacher. By the way, like I started taking those cold without watching anything. I'm like, oh yeah, look at this. Like, the one question that I've missed so far was I totally knew the answer, but I didn't know what the thing was called, what like Apple's term for it was. But yeah, I mean, they're funny little silly 5-question multiple choice things, and I don't know. It's just ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, a lot of time, what the thing is, the enemy is time.
Yeah.
Time, the enemy.
I thought the enemy, John, was
Mr. Technology.
just kidding, Jeremy.
We just kicked it old school there on that one. I know.
I had to bring that. It just seemed fitting right there.
I know. Well, the thing is, my drama, we know that it's not working for me. So I would love to do some more
John,
Mr.
drama always works for you. What are you talking about?
I know. Well, speaking of drama, here, let's go into something a little bit more robust. Let's kick it a different notch here, real quick, Scott Bedley.
Okay.
If I can. And you know what? I'm going to do? I'm going to.
I have no idea where you're taking this, but I like it.
Okay. No. All right. Well, good. That's what I didn't know you were going to take me down the dark road. You are totally waiting to jump me with that one.
No, John, you said you wanted to talk about it.
You're right. No, I did want to talk about that. I think that when you say things like that, here, let's close it. Let's put a nice little bow on that one. So I think that when you say things like that to the general public and you throw it out there, I think, number one, that person was just looking for retweets. I think that person was looking to be like, oh, yeah, and have people just kind of aimlessly agree with them. And I don't think that helps the general public's perception of teachers. And I think, in fact, that would even increases the divide. How about that?
I think the general public's not like sympathetic to a tweet like that.
Yeah.
They're not like, hey, just lighten up and just enjoy the World Series. Yeah, we care about educating our kids. But
you know what? I'm not in education. I agree with that guy. I agree with him. Let me go down right now and run for my school board. It's not happening. I'm sorry. That tweet did not. I think the best. You always are actually the person, Scott, that puts those things in perspective for me, what are you trying to gain? What is your goal with that tweet? I mean, it's all about goals, right? What are you trying to achieve with that tweet?
Right. What's the
what was that person trying to achieve?
They weren't trying to achieve change, maybe some sales of some sort.
Right.
Definitely not changing things.
Right. You're not changing things. I think that's one where you would just reach into your little, you have the power if you tweet that out, and 10 minutes later you could take that back and delete that tweet, and nobody would really have been the wiser too much.
No.
Right?
Certainly not. Not with the flood of tweets that comes across everyone's feeds now.
That's right. Okay, so we're going to go a different way now, Scott Bedley.
Let's turn.
Let's turn. Ready? We're going to turn. Is there a turn sound effect? No, it's just a cricket. Okay, so on this one, so I got up one morning, Scott, and I did my grumpy teacher rant. It was by myself.
Yeah,
right.
I listened to that several times, John. Actually,
did you listen to that one? Several times. What are you insane?
So I'm a slow listener. I am.
So anyway, I was just pondering the future of podcasting at the time. Blab made things very easy for us. Google Hangouts on Air made things really easy for us. Now I'm glad I found Google Hangouts on Air again. I hope that the audio quality of this is good, even though the content is really bad. So anyway, we've been pondering different ways.
We're kind of getting on a roll here, John. I
know. Hey, now I'm rolling. Here we go. All right. So
kicking in
it's just the sound effects. They make you think you're on a roll.
They do.
So wait, who's at the door? It's Father Tim. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so we won't bag on Father Tim just yet. So with the podcast, so we can go. Let's go historical here. Let's go historical. So
wait, hold on.
Wait, and then do a drama real quick for me. Do drama. We're going back in time. Okay, so when we started this, so now we're going on 4 years, right, Scott Bedley? I mean, the Bedley brothers and Techlandia, we started pretty much basically the same time. Can we agree that?
No, you guys started before us. I would definitely.
Scott, it was like a month before you. Okay, I say that just because remember we used to argue about it. Then you'd be like, I started on December 30th. And
well, we did. I started December 27th.
See, there we go. Okay, well, I started December 31st. It was like a New Year's Eve for some reason. Yeah. So when we started the podcast, Allison and I, so we kind of morphed it, and then
Allison, we miss Allison. I miss Allison.
I know we do miss Allison. I will see her next Saturday. We're having a Scratch Educator meetup next Saturday in Portland.
Nice.
Yeah, that'll be good. So when we started it, we did our little thing. We did apps. We did people to follow on Twitter. We were excited about stuff. We did it. Google Hangouts on Air. We thought, let us start the podcast or whatever. Yeah. So we did it. And then we changed it into something. And then about the 20th episode, after we got Kurt going on, and we started to kind of get our groove going. We're like, okay, well, we've kind of run out of apps and people to follow on Twitter. So let's start interviewing people. So we started interviewing people. Now, you guys in Bedley Brothers, just started interviewing people right away, correct?
No.
You didn't start out there. Okay, good.
The first maybe 4 episodes, we started, just sharing our ideas. And then we shifted, and I said, Tim, how long is this going to last?
Right.
I mean, we can share ideas for a long time, but at some point it runs out, right? So we're like, how about we bring guests on and then share ideas at the end of the show, which was our original model. If you listen to some of the earlier shows, we would bring guests on, and then we would also share some things that we think were cool and that you could do in your classroom and stuff like that way back when.
I think you even did that when we were on the podcast. I think you even did that. You still shared after you talked with us.
Yeah, maybe we did that for like a little over a year or so.
So, right. So the things change, and then we just kept interviewing people, and then we just kind of, and then don't you feel like I had a lot of people ask me, how we did our podcast? I had a lot of people ask me, I would say at least more than 4 or 5 podcasts, and I would go through the process of how to make them, and I helped them. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I didn't ask for any credit or any stipends for it or anything. I just helped them, right? It's all about, to me, it's always been all about sharing. That's why I like Twitter. It's not, but it seems like sharing has turned now to humble bragging or just outright bragging or trying to further my career for money. So
You got to get the money, dude.
That's
You
right.
got
They've got to get the money. So when we hadn't really changed. So Kurt and Allison dumped off, and the podcasts are like, we're sick of it. And I was like, shocked, right? I'm like, no, oh no. You go. I should have you hit with the drama sound effect there. I should just like point at you when I want the drama sound. Oh wait, that's not really the drama I wanted though. So that was too much drama. So as Mary J. Blige says, too much drama. So I feel like we kept trying to interview people, and it's hard to interview people all the time. And then there's so many people that I feel like have copied the style of interviewing people on a podcast. It's not original anymore.
Are there, John?
I don't know. I don't listen. I don't listen to that many, but I feel like that's kind of where everything is right now, right? So we kind of have the idea. So I think that it's time to start to think about taking Techland. Now, not grumpy old teachers, because we're always going to be here, right? And we're always going to be grumpy.
Well, this is a different platform. Yeah. This is like a different platform.
We're not interviewing anybody, right? People
to be
ask
really honest about education and what we see as areas that we kind of try to point out its flaws.
That's right. We're not afraid to name names. I'll name names. It's like Hop Sings on Seinfeld. So when
name a name, John.
By the way, the tweet we were talking about was from Adam Welcome earlier in the show. There you go. I'll name names. I don't follow Adam Welcome, but that tweet was brought to. I don't know Adam Welcome, but that's where it was. And I just thought that was kind of somebody brought that tweet to my attention, and I thought, why do you follow him then if he makes you upset? So when everybody starts interviewing people for podcasts and things like that, I think it's time, and Techlandia is about 4 years old, and we definitely don't talk about tech that much anymore. We started interviewing people. The name came from that. So Scott and I are going to kind of, at least I know the Bedley brothers are still going strong, so hats off to you. God bless you for that. But what I think we're going to do is on Techlandia, we're going to kind of fade it into the sunset a little bit, and we're going to keep it on the same stream, and you won't have to change anything for your 3 subscribers that are out there. But we're going to change it to the Teaching in Beta podcast, and I think that we'll do.
You know when to hold.
Right, you got to know when to
know when to fold up.
So
when to walk away.
I've got a few more. I mean, we've got to get our episode with Sam Patterson up for, especially because Hour of Code Week's coming up for Sam. Mm-hmm. But I think Techlandia is going to slowly these are going to be the last few episodes of Techlandia, and then we're going to change it to the Teaching in Beta podcast, where we are going to do something a little bit more original than other podcasts that are out there, and you can like it or you can quit listening.
Don't give it away, John. Don't give it away.
No, and you know what? I'm actually not going to give it away right now, because we're going to make it more about teaching and pedagogy, and we're not going to make it not about ourselves, right? I feel like on podcasts, there's a lot of people that are just making it about themselves. I'm not about myself. I don't care about myself.
Touché, John. I think I agree. It does. It's. I think the idea that, this is your idea, John, like own that idea. It's a great idea. It's one of the reasons I think both you and Allison and Kurt originally started doing this. It's one of the reasons I know Tim and I started doing this, is to provide a resource, a place for people to go that are hampered down in their classroom trying to get this incredibly hard job done. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like they can't go and conference hop and get paid to do so. They've got to be in their classroom doing the hard work of what it takes to be a teacher. And so, this kind of an idea that you have is it's awesome, because it's another place for people to go that are in there doing the hard work to turn and say, okay, how can I do this a little bit better? How can I reach my kids a little bit deeper as far as their learning ability? What can I do to just make my impact greater? And I think that's the idea you have coming up on Teaching in Beta, John. And I think again, bravo to you for making that shift.
Thanks. Well, we're trying. I mean, it's because I know people like you, quite frankly, because you're quite frankly, the one of the king teachers. Look, you've got your crown right now. You're like the you're like the Burger King of teachers. But
this is the BK Lounge, bro.
It is the BK Lounge. The biddies in the BK Lounge. So we'll try to do that. And right, I feel like podcasts have kind of slipped into. You know what? You know what really started to hit me when PR firms started contacting me.
I know.
Like, quite frankly, like I've told you about this, and I'm totally not trying to humble brag here, but they'd be like, hey, have you thought about having this guest on your show or whatever? And I'm like, I'm really not about like, I don't want to like promote things. If I promote things, it's because I like them and I use them on a regular basis. I will promote Adobe Spark all the way until it becomes a not useful tool again, right? I mean, if it becomes a not useful tool.
Dude, same with me in Skype. It's something I believe in. It's something I use. It's something that I think works to connect teachers to what's, things that you can't just do in a classroom. And I think it's all about that. John, can I talk to you about the Surface Pro 4? Just kidding. Actually,
the Edgy Famous Gong just rung right there. That's what we used to call it, the Edgy Famous Gong. Now we can call it the promotional gong.
I actually like that, but I like mine, but there's a lot of great tools out there. Did you see that new Surface computer thing?
Oh my gosh, don't get me started. I would love to have one of those things. Those things look awesome. It does.
How much did they
The price tag looked a little bit sick too.
Yeah, it's a lot sick. They jumped Apple though, even with the exploding chalk.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's I don't know. It looks really. I mean, the way you can zoom in on things and the way you can take it from a desktop to that's real. I think it'll be great for designers and people that are graphic designers and animators, and I think I can't see why they wouldn't get one of those if you were working
3D drawings and you could go to 3D printing. Gosh,
it looks great. I'll just have to see one first, and then I hope that the next model will jump down in price a little bit.
As long as they fix the update issue.
Yeah.
That's always an issue.
Yeah. So
Doug Roberts.
So anyway, I know that sound effect works with your crown that you're wearing, your Burger King crown. So anyway, yeah. So we'll try the Teaching in Beta podcast. It'll be completely different. It'll be chock full of still educators, but it won't be like interviewing. We're going to be talking shop. And I know we talk shop. We talk shop when we interview.
Definitely not the traditional way of interviewing. That's for sure.
So we'll see if it works. But it could be a complete failure. But you know what? I feel like in order to keep podcasting, I want to give it a try. So we'll give it a try. And I'm really totally not about that. I'm just about sharing stuff, sharing some different things, getting some different points of view, changing people's ways of thinking. I don't know. I would like to do that. I would like to see that more on the Twitters. So anyway, that's what I got for you peoples.
John, this is the time of the show when we talk about Tim Bedley, also known as
Father Tim. I lead my grumpy bear head into it.
That mic is just people are going to have to turn down their
Father Tim. All right. So anyway, Father Tim. What is Father Tim up to these days? I heard that he's off of his pine needle diet. Is he still on it, or is he off of it?
No, he went to pure dried fruits. So he's dehydrating. He bought one of these, not just the stack ones, but it's a massive dehydrator. And he's dehydrating everything he could dehydrate, because he really believes in this pure water diet that's out there. Have you heard of that movement? Yeah, it's pure water. It's you have to drink water with your dehydrated foods to make them pure again, because the water that the foods have taken in is all chemical based and stuff like that. So you dehydrate the water out of them, and then you put back, basically by drinking this pure water and the dehydrated food at the same time, you put back what is really meant to be in nature. It's incredible.
Now, is he getting his pure water from the waterfalls of Brazil?
He is. He is. He's getting them from the
Amazon rainforest.
He's getting from the mountains of Temecula.
Speaking of the mountains of Temecula, I saw one of the most.
It's also a Napa-like region out there, just to let you know, John.
So I saw one of the most ridiculous things ever. You know, it's total clickbait. I think I was on ESPN.com looking at how many upsets there were in college football. And they said the 15 worst places to retire. Do you know that pretty much most 10 of them were
I thought
California?
you almost lost Aunt Jinx there. You're talking football. I was like, there it goes.
Nope, and can still listen. So no, it was so I clicked it 15 and it was a horrible slideshow that like refreshed at a slow pace, so if you clicked it too fast, it would go open the tab for the whatever advertisement. But so some of the could you get all right, so some of them were totally around you. Like the 15 worst places to retire, because like I swear like 8 or 9 of them were California. You know, it's like Bakersfield. I'm like, really?
Apparently, California is going to secede. So,
right, California.
Just getting you the FYI.
Hey, I lived through it all in Texas.
You're going to need your passport to get into California.
No, I lived through it in Texas, so I remember. I think they might be still trying. So, yeah, one of them. So when it got to like the top 3, it was like Detroit, and I was like, yeah, you're not shocking me there with Detroit. Like, really, that's what I want to do. Is I want to retire. And
was one of them Barstow?
No, it wasn't Barstow. It was Bakersfield and.
Oh, Bakersfield's not bad.
No, Bakersfield was one of them though. Barstow wasn't.
Really?
It was like what are some other ones like as you're driving through Ontario to get to like the 5?
Well, there's
It was, but I mean, it was like Fontana.
Yeah, Fontana's out there. Yeah. They got a racetrack out there.
Well, they're just they were trying to do like quality of life, health care.
San Bernardino.
Yeah, San Bernardino was one.
Bedley.
And it wasn't Ontario, but it was something right next to Fontana too. Like some of these suburbs I hadn't heard of.
Chino Hills, Chino.
No, it was like something beach right next to Fontana. Yeah, but then it was like number 1 was like I think number 1 and 2 were like east. It was like Providence, Rhode Island, or Hartford, Connecticut, or something. But it was like Detroit, Jersey City, Newark. I'm like, well, nobody's going to retire to Newark. I'm sorry.
As long as you don't like retire where they're building that pipeline, that oil pipeline, I think
I guess not, right?
Gosh. What about Austin, John? Would you retire to Austin?
Oh, I think Austin would be a great place to retire to. You just have to deal with the heat, though.
I think Hawaii would be a great place.
Yeah, Hawaii is where I would like to go retire to. I'll tell you that. So anyway, it's pretty fun stuff. But look at you, you're so professional. You're even muting when you're taking a drink of stuff. Good job.
I got my Yeti. John, do you know about the Yeti?
Oh, wait, hold on. Yeti, that's a nickel. Okay.
It's fantastic. I mean, I keep my ice water cold for hours and hours and hours. Like the entire school day, I have ice water. It's fantastic. I would promote Yeti all day long. If you like ice water.
I thought you were talking about the Yeti microphone, but you're talking about your cup.
No, it's the Yeti.
Did you get that at Costco?
No, I got it on Amazon.
Okay.
Costco. I can't afford Costco anymore.
Amazon, see our affiliate links that we'll tweet out after the show for the Yeti.
Thank you, EduFamous.
Thank you. Yeah.
We know who you are.
So, Scott, I really feel like we should try. All right, I'm keeping track of the time. I feel like we should keep it tight this time and not go our normal hour and a half. Let's keep it tight. Okay, so what do you think right now? And we have a couple different topics. I know that you have your top 5 list you want to do, but real quick, let's talk a little bit about something positive.
Yeah,
let's talk about.
There's a lot of positive out there.
Let's talk about your coming up to my school district and giving the keynote speech. How did you feel about that? Give me a little recap now, because I know I didn't prepare you for this, so now I can get your
BSU future ready. You know, I admire the efforts that Beaverton's taking as far as, you know, providing something really cool for their teachers. And I'm not talking about me at all, but what I'm talking about is what the event that you and your colleagues put together, John, was just fantastic, to bring in people like Ruben Hoffman and Amy Fadege and Brian Briggs.
Yeah.
And Lisa Highfield. On and on and on. And the amazing teacher like Rylan Lester in your district, right? Who's doing some amazing things. And just the people that you had And Chris, I mean, you could I just go through all of the people that you brought in to try to provide this incredible like professional development. And John, I'm still talking about that professional development because of a couple things. Number one, I think it was incredibly awesome that you guys did those Oprah sessions. You got to
Yes,
tell
we
about
did.
the Oprah sessions.
Well, I mean, yeah, go ahead. You can tell about the Oprah
Okay,
sessions. I
so
don't like to, yeah.
so those of you that are listening to this podcast and have stayed with us this long, so check this out. So
Bless
they
you.
have the teachers pre-register for some of the sessions because they're limited space. But what they have planned, because they did this and saved so much money doing this compared to what it would take to, I don't know, hire an outside company to do something like this, is they took the money and they reinvested that in their teachers, the classrooms, and directly what would go to help the kids. So imagine you going and signing up for a session, let's say on, I don't know, the iPad Pro. And you go into this session or iPad apps or whatever it might be. You go into that session and all of a sudden the presenter's like, you get an iPad Pro and a pencil, and you get an iPad Pro and a pencil. Every single one of you gets an iPad Pro and an iPad, and a pencil. And like, or you get a set of robots, and you get a set of like dot and dashes, and you get some Spheros, and everybody in here gets
We
Spheros.
did
Like
Makey Makeys. We did it.
Makey Makeys, and you get a Makey, and like just I mean,
Ozobots.
imagine like the excitement and energy that built it for these teachers, and the idea that like, oh, we got this and now we get to go back and use it with our kids, it's going to be so exciting, was just brilliant. And I loved it. I loved the organization of it was fantastic. Big props to Nicole. I know spent a lot of time on that, and John, it was awesome. I just appreciate you letting me be a part of what you guys did up there for your teachers, and I wish more districts were doing things like that. It was awesome.
I know, the thing is, usually we don't do, we try to, how anti-keynote I am, right? I'm very anti-keynote.
I know.
But your keynote, a lot of people were talking, I mean, and I'm not just trying to blow some false praise your way or whatever, but I had a lot of people say that you set the tone great. And of course, I didn't get to, I'll have to look at it on video or something. I did not get to see your keynote because I was out trying to put out fires and things like that. I was there for I was there to heckle you for like the first 5 minutes, and then I was gone because I got a text. And but people were like, they were really impressed with your keynote and the message that you delivered. So why don't you tell us what the message was that you tried to deliver, especially for me because I wasn't there.
John, I just wanted to come at it from the perspective, you don't see a lot of keynotes that are actual classroom teachers. I mean, let's be real.
Yeah, let's be real.
They're professional speakers. They're people. I just wanted to come at it from, hey, I'm a teacher. I'm in the classroom. We're all in the classroom. Here we are. Let's talk about how we approach this. And I just talked about, just creating curiosity. And curiosity starts with those why questions. Or what if I did this? What if I tried this? What would happen? What if art got cut in my district? What if I brought in like a professional artist to share how they go through the process of creating their art to inspire my kids? And so that was like my beginnings in using Skype in the classroom. And that was before there was ever a thing called Skype in the classroom. It's like, what if I did this? What if I tried this? What if, it's like all these, like, how do I as a professional inspire curiosity in myself? And it's through those questions like, what if I tried this? What if I tried this? And every single one of those, John, was scary to me. And not all of them succeeded. But I just tried to communicate to your teachers. And the same thing that I was feeling is like, if I just ask a different question each year, or a couple questions of like, what if I tried this? What's going to happen? And just test it out and see. And a lot of it stemmed from so much bad press about public education. I was like, if I tried this, we're not going to look any worse as professional educators. So I'm going to try. I'm going to try to do something that's different because we already have this horrible reputation in the media. I think if you ask most parents, they feel pretty satisfied with their local school for the most part. But it's like, just let's do that. And let's not only do that, like, how do we inspire curiosity in our students? And one of my litmus tests was like, how often are the kids coming up sharing something they learned with you compared to how much you're telling them what they need to know? And if you have kids coming up sharing frequently what they've learned, you have a classroom that's inspiring curiosity. If it's all about you telling them what they need to know, it may not be a classroom that's inspiring a lot of curiosity.
Yeah. No, that's great. I know. And the thing that I see on Twitter a lot is I saw one today where they were like, you know what? Next Ed Camp, we should have students, and students is in all caps. And I'm like, right, if you've been going to Ed Camps for a while, and I haven't been to one for almost a year now because we've been having trouble getting them to go up here in Portland. But I mean, I've been to at least like 15 different Ed Camps in several different states. The thing is, right, we've been saying that for a long time. So how about somebody just get it done?
Right.
Let's not tweet about, oh, we should have students next time. Have students next time. And it's not an original idea. We've been having that idea for a long time. I think that's the thing that's getting to me on Twitter a little bit. It's like
Ed Camp LA had students, John.
Yeah, I mean,
I sat in a session
students there
and heard some kids that were unschooled talk about their experience of being unschooled and how that led them to where they were today. And there was a lot of curiosity amongst the teachers in the room about unschooling and what did that look like. And it was awesome. I mean, I think you're right though with saying like, let's stop talking and let's do.
Yeah, let's do it.
A lot of talking.
Yeah, I remember like John Stevens and Matt Vaudry talking about that like 2 years ago when I used to chat with people on Boxer. They talk about that and all. I guess I used to be in the Ed Camp Boxer.
They're so good about that, like just making sure a kid's voices is John and Matt, just good guys, and just always seem to be student focused like that.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't know, but yeah, so that's a good message. I know that everybody really enjoyed your keynote, so thanks for coming out. I appreciate
Thanks for letting me chat with your teachers. It was fantastic. I loved it. And it was a great weekend. We got to go have some good food. Tilt, right, John?
That's right, Tilt. The number one place for tater tots in Portland. I don't know. Gosh,
and just a chance to really get to hang out at Tim's house, and
yeah,
I don't know. It was an awesome time, and I love Portland. Maybe I'll find myself up there someday, John.
That's right. You can find yourself up here in Portland. Well, we're going to do that conference. I think that'll be our, hopefully we had some problem on Tuesday. We did have a ballot measure that we were hoping would pass in Oregon as teachers, as educators. Everybody didn't hope it would pass because it got voted down. But everybody that's pretty much a teacher. So it was Proposition 97. And, so we're hitting some snags here, so we'll have to see what happens with the old funding of different things. But we're hoping to have that every year on that same day, and then we're going to do our one in spring too. We've actually talked about doing it maybe a little bit different with like a play date style or whatever. But of course, that's just all of us talking again, and I don't know. It'll be. But I do love the play date idea. That you have to sit there and.
Okay, John. I've got an idea for your spring thing. Can I throw it out?
Sure.
And it's something I've talked to other people about, but I want an ed tech gauntlet. Okay, so picture, like a long hallway. So if you have a school with a long hallway, and so you come up as a teacher. And if you can pass the challenge at that level, you can move on. If you can't, you go into that room and they train you so you can pass that level of the gauntlet and go forward. The next level of the gauntlet, let's say, is like, sharing on Google Docs. And then the next level is, you're going to like integrate, Google Drawing with Google Docs. And the next level is like whatever it might be. Not all Google stuff, but do you know what I'm saying? Like, you have this gauntlet of series of tests, and part of its play, playing with different devices. Mm-hmm. Is this totally crazy of me?
No, I think that's kind of cool. It's like, but it sounds like a GAFE summit on steroids. But no, I mean, right? That's kind of a cool thing. I kind of like that actually.
Just like a gauntlet
that would be fun just for like a meetup.
To the very end, and there you are, John, with like bright lights behind you, and you're like welcoming those teachers to the final. You've made it past all the challenges, all the POCA challenges.
Right, now you're a Snorlax.
You've beat all the masters, and now you go against Blue Bear.
That's right. I mean, right. I don't know if I could pass the challenges. That's the thing.
I'm sure you
No,
could.
that would be, yeah, that sounds kind of interesting. I know. Well, it's going to be on a Saturday. I know that much. So it's going to be on Saturday,
Can we
April
can we do a
15th.
conference that's like a gauntlet type conference like that?
Yeah, that would be kind of fun. It'd be easy. You know what I would like to see? Okay, so here's something. You talk about the, that's high up on my list, the professional conference goer to people. But yeah, I would like to see how many of them could actually run through a gauntlet and actually pass what they're trying to talk about, as they haven't like taught. Like I'm very honest when I've met with a couple grade levels this week, did some professional development for them, and I'm always very honest because I'm like, hey, if you don't like what I'm selling you, then don't do it. I'm just trying to give you some ideas. Tell me my idea stinks, and I'll try and find you something else or find you another idea. I haven't been in the classroom now for like this is my going on my 5th year without students, right? Well, who am I to preach to you? I don't know what I'm talking about.
You
I mean,
do. I mean, you
I
spent enough.
mean, I kind of do, but I mean, I don't. But if you haven't done something for 5 years now,
John, I mean, you spent what, 18 years in the classroom? So
yeah,
I don't think you discount that because you've been out of the class. And you know what? I even more so, you're out there working with kids on a regular basis. It's not like you're, I don't know, somewhere on like the man in the high castle,
yeah,
like
right, right.
just looking down and like saying, "Hey, we've spent $150,000 on let's just say like
Nearpod,
randomly Nearpod. I don't know, and you go do this and integrate it in your classroom.
yeah,
And okay, great, I got an interactive PowerPoint. Awesome. I will integrate that into my classroom.
right.
Not that it matches anything pedagogically that I would normally do, or
Hmm.
maybe it does. I'm not knocking Nearpod. I mean, it has an impact and people get excited about it or whatever.
Yeah,
But I'm just saying, like, God, you're not doing that, John. You're out there in the classroom. That's what I love about it. Can
yeah,
you
that's
do
true.
can you like take over like Tosa Chat and just talk to the Tosa? I'm sure all the people on Tosa Chat are doing similar things, but
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing on the old Toasted Chat. I'll tweet out some stuff occasionally to Toasted Chat, but I haven't really been watching too much. Is that run
could you
mostly by the
moderate Tosa
California
Chat?
people? I don't know. I don't know if
I
I'm
think
good
it is,
enough
but I'm
to.
not sure. I think it is. I'm not sure. There's
Am
an
I
ed
good?
camp down here in Orange County today, North Orange County.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I was just gonna say Ed Camp Tosa.
It's Ed Camp NOC, NOC, North Orange County.
Oh, Ed
Some
Camp.
some good people over at that.
Who's
Uh,
over there?
Vicky Sedgwick, I know, was at that.
I
She's
love
she's
Vicky
fantastic what
Sedgwick.
she's doing. Ann Cosma, you got to meet out at
Oh, I
ISTE,
like
I
Ann
believe.
Cosma. Yeah.
Fantastic person. Um, you know, just a lot of really neat local people that were involved with that. So it's cool.
I didn't know Ann Cosma was from your. Is she? She's more southern based. I thought she was more.
She's Fullerton. She's out by the Cal State.
Okay. I thought she was more up North Bay.
Yeah, like some people like Tim and Jody Green. Tim teaches over at Cal State Fullerton, and Jody Green's a ed tech specialist, and just good people. Good people
That
doing good
sounds good.
things.
There are some good people in California. I hope they don't fly the coop. We've been talking about that a little bit too. I hope that some of the California people realize that California people. Let me talk to you for a second. You realize
Wait,
it's
hold on.
not. It's
Hold
California people. California people. You realize it's not about you, right? It's not. It's not about you. I'm just saying. On the Twitter, you could make like little selfies of yourself, like moderating Toast Chat with your Bitmoji, and you know what I'm saying. And it's not about you. Nobody cares about what the Bitmoji of you looks like, and nobody just moderate it. You don't have to get people to go. I understand, but just because you're on there with a Bitmoji on a fancy little Canva Twitter thing or a Adobe Post Spark Post Twitter thing, it's not about you. I'm sorry. It's almost like I've watched Good Will Hunting.
John, I love the
It's
Adobe
not.
products, by the way.
They're good. They are good. But yeah,
Fantastic.
I would like to thank Ben Forta from Adobe Spark for coming up to Beaverton and for letting me show him around for the day and doing some training for the teachers. It was nice of him to come up here. That's how good the Adobe Spark people are. I remember they reached out to me. They saw something I did, a project I did. See, this is what it's about. For those people that I was just talking to, where I said it's not about you. I shared out something that we did together, but it was students that made it. I just shared it out. And the cool thing was the Adobe people saw it and they called me and talked to me a little bit and asked me how many people I used it with. And they were like, oh, how many people? And so then Ben Forta decided to come on down, head of the education initiatives. So
Cool.
thanks, Ben Forta. I
That's
appreciate it.
great.
I really probably should have emailed and followed up to him on that, but maybe I will tag him in a
people.
Grumpy Teacher podcast or something.
The good people at Adobe Spark.
Well, and so here's the new thing with Adobe Spark. As long as and I'm not, by the way, paid by Adobe Spark, but I did get some nothing
You're
but
not
cakes.
paid by Adobe Spark?
No, I'm not. I'm not. But I did get some
I'm
yummy.
not paid by Microsoft either.
You're not to talk about Skype. You're not really.
No.
You know what though? When Ben Forta came down, he got some snacks, and I got some nothing but cakes. Oh man, nothing but cakes are good. Grumpy Bear,
Say that 5 times fast, John.
even Grumpy Bear likes bunt cakes. So now I totally forgot where I was going. Oh, so Adobe Spark Video is going to now, and I was on the beta a little bit, they're going to incorporate regular moving video. So before, if you haven't made an Adobe Spark Video, you've got icons, still pictures, and text. And it'll animate it for you kind of like Animoto 2.0, right? Animoto used to do the same thing like 8 years ago. By the way, Scott Bedley, Animoto looks like they've shaped up their game a little bit, and I'm going to check them out too, because it looks like they're kind of shaping, I loved it. Yeah, I loved it a decade ago, but now it looks like they're re-going for it, so that's good for them. They haven't let time take it away yet. But so Adobe Spark Video is going to allow you to actually import parts of actual moving video into the video now. So it's not going to be just still frames. That adds a lot of power to it. So I'm looking for that to come out. I think it's probably going to come out by the end of the month for everybody.
I love it when these really cool tools just add a little more to themselves and make it just a little more robust. They don't like try to make this huge, massive shift. They're just like, hey, if we just add this one little thing,
Yeah. Well, so can I talk about that for a second? Do you use Class Dojo?
I don't. You know what I use, John? I use Apple Tree. I love Apple Tree. It's like an Instagram type feed, and I can get progress reports to parents in there. I have a calendar. I have comments. I use that as my newsletter now. I don't do a newsletter like I used to on S'more because S'more is like expensive.
S'more, right? S'more went up, paid so much.
No, I just use Apple Tree, which is, I love it. So
kind of rolls everything into one.
Yeah, it's nice. It's just a nice communication tool.
Well, you're talking about some. I like to encourage people to use what they're comfortable with, right? So a lot of people, when I used to use Class, right, so I was in on Class Dojo early too. And
the Bedley brothers, we had one of the co-founders early on.
Yeah, they're super. They're super. I've had many drinks and appetizers at some of their queue functions, but so thank you.
Wait, we can do that now.
I know you forget, but so I guess Class Dojo's really tried to kind of incorporate some seesaw-like features. Like they were telling me that you can do like portfolio type things, and and I was just like, okay, I'm gonna really have to look at that. But I'm like, that's kind of a thing where I thought, wow, maybe they're trying to do too much now,
Yeah.
But some of the people like Class Dojo, like some of the people in my district like Class Dojo. A lot of people love Seesaw. And I keep trying to show them, and they get scared. And I'm like, no, these places, or Google Classroom, for instance, now has parent features. You talk about the transparency. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on, and they're making it better, and they're not like really charging you for it, which is nice. That's nice.
Sean, that reminds me of something that I kind of need to talk about.
Okay.
Do we have time? Or should we save it for
I think this should be it, though. I'm going to keep us on a leash.
I saw a tweet that went out, and it said,
"Oh, you're going to get me in trouble again, aren't you?"
No, man. That's a tweet I saw, and we got into it.
Okay. Yeah.
But it was basically like, if you're using Microsoft Word, just stop now. And this was quoting a keynote speaker at a conference.
Oh, okay.
And I whatever. I don't care what you use. I use a lot of Google products. I use Classroom all the time. But the thing that I couldn't stand is that maybe there's 50 teachers in that conference, or even 10, that's what like they're moving forward with, and that's what they're using. And I was like, is saying something like that really productive? Like, if you're into Google, promote Google, right? If you're into Microsoft, promote Microsoft. If you're into Seesaw, promote Seesaw. If you're into whatever it is, promote the thing that you really believe in can make an impact for kids. Don't like go after stuff. That's not our job as educators. Promote the stuff that's like effective, and
Right. Well,
you know
so,
what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying, and it's almost like I felt like I think a lot. I think a lot of these things. This is why we need to podcast more, because I think a lot of these things in my grumpy bear head, and then I'm like, what are we doing? So do you remember on Facebook when everybody is like, oh my gosh, Google Docs has columns now. Google Docs has columns, and I
I
want to
don't
be like,
remember what you're talking about, John.
okay, so then it's like, oh my gosh,
Everybody
Google
was
Docs
getting
has
so excited about
columns. I'm so excited. And then everybody's like liking it, and oh my God. And I'm like, well, Microsoft Word had columns forever. So what?
it. Yeah.
If you
Thank
needed
you.
something,
Finally.
with columns, then why wouldn't you just use why wouldn't you just use Word, which is out there, right?
Well, and
And
they have a 365 tool that makes people able to collaborate, and their forms. They have like forms. They have like a lot of the stuff. People just don't look at it anymore because they think it's irrelevant. But I'm telling you, man, some of the stuff that they're doing is pretty sweet.
I just wonder if some of these people are like, okay, here, I'm just going to keep doing with Google stuff because I'm going to get paid, and I know the Chromebooks are there, so that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I know that everybody that kind of uses OneDrive really is like surprised. They're like, wow, OneDrive. I'm like, yes, OneDrive.
Yeah.
Everybody can do it. What came out the other day for me? It was Dropbox Paper, and it's
Right.
just a Google Doc basically in Dropbox, right? But it's like
That's cool.
it's got this little button where it looks like it's like Medium. Okay, remember I couldn't remember this in the car when we were talking. It's like Medium in its format, because when you post on the blog medium.com, when you go there, you just start typing, and then you can highlight stuff, and it highlights and changes around, and you can add a plus button, and you can add page. So it's basically stole Medium style and made it, and I like it better than Google Docs. So now I'm using Dropbox Paper. Should I stop? Or should I try something new and see if I like it then, whatever? I saw somebody just yesterday when I was doing that PD that I was talking about, making a doc in Microsoft Word. And you know what I did? I looked at her and I said, can I ask you a question? I said, why are you building this document in Microsoft Word? And she's like, oh, well, it's just what I'm comfortable with, and blah, blah. And I said, okay. I said, on this one, I said, I'm like, have you ever just tried Google Docs? I'm like, you can use whatever you want, but I'm like, it's a little bit easier to share stuff, this way or that way. Because she was making something for her whole team. Not like you can't share
Right.
stuff on Word, right? I mean, but I was just trying to see if she would be open to it a little bit, and she was, and she tried it, and she's like, oh, okay, but she just didn't know how to start, right? And
Right.
to say just because you're using Microsoft Word, my wife was using Microsoft Word today. It's what people are comfortable with, and if they are really good at it, why would you take them off
Well, yeah,
of
just
it,
move
right?
them into 365 where they can do some of
Right.
the things that Google has really done so well. I mean, Google did collaboration better than anybody. I mean, they did it. They like changed the game, but it doesn't mean that they own the game.
Right. They don't own the game, and they
But
just
they changed
because
it for
people don't
sure to
use it,
make it
right?
better.
It doesn't mean you should be condescending to people that like what they like.
Yeah, then if they feel comfortable with that, okay. So say, here's how to take it forward, so that kids can start collaborating. Because ultimately, that's the goal, right? It's not to use Google. It's not to use Microsoft. It's not to use whatever tool. It's to have the kids be collaborators. And if that means that teacher needs that tool that they feel comfortable with, like, let's lead them down that path. And that's that, like, back to my original comment, is really what drove me crazy about that tweet. It's like, if you can lead teachers there by whatever tool, let's get them there.
Yeah.
Let's get them there, because that's going to impact the kids, and that's the most important thing.
Right. Is it bad that I'm sick? I've been in this ed tech game for a while. If I'm sick of Padlet, do I discourage people from using Padlet?
No.
No, I don't. I don't. I'm like, okay. And then if I have something that works better for what they're doing, then maybe I show it to them. Or if they're really good with that and comfortable, I probably don't. I probably don't, to tell you the truth. But sometimes I do want to open our teachers' eyes a little bit to the possibility that we are Google Apps for Education, and there are alternatives out there,
Yeah.
and right,
Well,
and then that's what, right, because today after Marty finished her Microsoft Word document, like she wanted to make like a form, like a survey. I'm like, well, here, let's go to your Google Forms and let's send this out. And I just showed her some of the features, and she's like,
now
oh, okay. She
I
didn't know how
can
to use it.
I can show you how to do a Microsoft form too, John.
I would like to know how to do a Microsoft Form. What does that not mean? You know what? This kind of brings me
Log into
to
your 365, hit the waffle, and boom.
everybody's got a waffle now, don't they?
Yeah, they all
Everybody,
got waffles.
everybody's got
Listen,
waffles and the three dots. The three
right,
dots are like so important now.
somebody called it the burger, but you hit the waffle and you'll see a form, and you know what? It does pretty much the same thing, except for instead of breaking out the graphs and stuff like that, the
Mhm.
graphs are integrated into the results with each question.
That's cool.
So you know how Google kind of separates all that stuff out,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you can scroll down. It's
yeah.
all integrated right together. So
You can either look
that's
at the graphs or you can look at the individual results, right?
right. It's all
Okay.
like right there together, and you can click. I mean, it's it's at least comparable, if not like, hey, whoa, this is pretty good. This may be
Right.
better.
Well, I think that brings me to I think the last point is why are we so stuck on people being like everybody's a specialist nowadays? Like here I got to bring in my I need an app. Let me bring in my third down back here, this person on Twitter. And I think that's where I've kind of lost my thing. When I lost iPadsammy, it was always like, hey, we can go to John for this app or whatever. And you know what, people? I hate to tell you, but I still know apps backwards and forwards. I looked at one of the ones
Dude, you
today,
are
Scott.
my go-to guy, John.
Right? But
I'm
so
like,
I
I
I don't
need to
know.
talk to John. What do I do? What's out there? What do I use?
Right. So, and sometimes I mean, it's not that I have all the answers, but I never lost my, I lost the name, but I never lost my touch, or I don't, might not look in the app store as much as I do, but I use iPads just as much with my teachers, my K-3 teachers. And the thing is, I looked at this one list of apps that they broke down. I think it was EdCamp Utah or something. So I kind of like squeezed in on the picture and looked at the apps. There wasn't really that much that I hadn't heard of. And I thought for them to write up these big columns in this 70 app list thing, there's no way people are going to use all those apps anyway. You just got to find the one thing that you like. And that's what I'm saying. So it's like, don't make fun of someone like, am I supposed to make fun of a teacher maybe because they like Animoto and there is new Adobe Spark Video? Am I supposed to like ridicule them? No, you would work with them with what they got and then say, hey,
Right.
maybe we'll try the same project next time with this if you want to try something new. Maybe there's something that bothers them about Animoto. Maybe there's something that bothers them about Adobe Spark. But just, I don't know, the knocking of people, and I don't know why there's I mean, I love whatever works well for teachers and is easy
Right.
saves them time, right? And if it saves the teacher time and they like it and they're getting the required results from students that they want, if they're getting the output that they want, then don't mess with it.
Well, yeah, and if you're in that position where you're an influencer, that's the role that it should be. It's like, how do I support those teachers and move forward? Hey, John, I got a little bit of a play for you. Have you heard of the most dangerous writing app.com?
No, I'm not sure I have, unless it's from you.
It's a website. It's not
Okay.
actually an app,
Okay.
but I think it's a fun thing for you to do with your classroom if you're listening.
Is it the one where you type and then if you don't stop typing, everything
Yes.
erases?
That's
Yes. Okay, I have seen that. And you know what? You showed it to me. That's how I know it.
it. It's not anything new, but it's just fun for the kids.
It's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Why would you not try that then?
Yeah, just mix stuff in, right? It doesn't have to always be the same thing. Mixing stuff up, I think, goes back to that creating curiosity. If you just do things just so routinely, it just deadens the sense of excitement for learning. So change it up, share it out, mix it up, do what you need to do.
That's right. There's no magic formula, and I don't think we need a bunch of specialists. I feel like I've gotten better at ed tech since I've been out in Oregon. I feel like I know a lot more about coding. I know a lot more about this and that, but just because I'm not a specialist in that one thing, it's kind of like, oh, okay, we're going to overlook John. Who cares? He doesn't have his little shtick anymore, 50 apps in 50 minutes. Well,
John,
I could do 50 apps in 50 minutes anytime.
You could do 1,500 apps in 50 minutes.
I could do, yeah. You want to see my app library? You don't want to see my app library. Oh my gosh, that's a nightmare. I think we did a good job, Scott, of keeping on about the hour, because I think it's about that time. Do you have anything? No, you can't do a long thing. You can't do something like long idea now.
No.
How should we wrap it up with a little bow?
I'm excited, number one, about what your idea is for teaching in beta, and I think people need to get ready for this. And I'm excited that what you're doing with the teachers up there in Beaverton is fantastic, and I know you're doing that with a lot of kids and just making sure that they are moving forward. And John, like always, buddy, it's great to talk, and it's great to talk education with you. I do it all the time.
We have to think about like a day where we at least get like, how many grumpy teachers should we do a month? We should do like 2 a month.
Let's put it out to the listener.
Yeah,
If you're listening, how often do you want to hear us talk? Christina Liz?
Brian Briggs.
Does Brian listen to the show? Thanks, Brian.
Brian listens. They just put out the 50th episode of Check This Out, too. They're going at a furious pace. And you know what? The good thing about our teaching in beta is that it's gonna be like an all comers kind of thing. Like we can have different people. I think it's gonna be cool. We'll just have to see if I can pull it all together, and I have the first makings of the first one. So we'll see if we can actually pull it all together. But yeah, I think that we'll get the Sam Patterson episode of Techlandia up. I'll probably try and do maybe 1 or 2 more with Amy and David, and then I think we'll just fade that out into the sunset. And then I've got teachinginbeta.com already. You can go to teachinginbeta.com right now. It might come up. I think I have to renew my stuff, whatever they call those domains.
I feel like this is going to be a 4-year shift for you, John.
It is. This is my 4-year shift. I've got the 4-year itch. Grumpy Bear needs something new to do. By the way, I will say this.
Grumpy Bear and Marnie Moose.
Grumpy Bear and Marnie Moose. I will say this to everyone as well. If you haven't checked out Scratch lately, this is one of our new pushes. The Scratch Educator Accounts takes 24 hours to get your account approved by Scratch. But once you're done, you can approve. We're trying to get all 4th and 5th graders in Beaverton School District, and as many 3rd graders too.
Coding projects on there that the kids can do.
Oh my gosh! I'm going through this book. I'm going through one of these books on just like coding projects in Scratch from the DK Press or whatever. And boy, it makes you feel like you're a winner when you do it, because I'm like, wow, I'm getting pretty good at Scratch now. I'm getting better.
And for those of you that are making that connection, like how does coding connect to like whatever? I'm going to give you a simple one. Cause and effect. If this, then that. Cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect. And there's so much more to coding and how it connects with all the other things we're teaching. And I know, John, we didn't talk about it tonight, but we are going to talk about Finland. And what's happening.
So we have some stuff. We have some stuff in the burner. We are going to talk about things. I think that at one point
we finish on Finland.
We'll have to finish on Finland.
I just told your joke.
But I think one of the things that we'll have to talk about a little bit, and I know I've been feeling it this year, is this time of the year it seems like everybody's really burnt out to me, and I've seen it a lot more prevalent this year with and all these initiatives coming in. I feel like at some point we should talk about just dealing with some burnout. I'm totally burnt out. I'm sitting here on a Saturday night in a Care Bears costume, Grumpy Bear costume. I'm burnt out,
dude. Such a hard job.
I know.
So thankfully that we have these jobs, but it is so hard.
They're difficult. All right, people, we want you to hang in there and hang in there with
Yeah.
us because Grumpy Old Teachers is going nowhere. It just
We'll get
needs
through
to,
it all together, right?
That's right. We'll still keep grumping and we'll be very honest about what we're grumping about. And we'll stay there. But Techlandia, I think, is going to fade off into the sunset, and we'll go with teaching in beta. And so once you see the new logo, don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid.
Don't be afraid. I was reading like tips on podcasting where it talked about like all these things you should do to promote your show, and I was just thinking I do none of that. It's just funny. Like review us on iTunes and do this and do that. It's so funny.
Hey, would you review us on iTunes? And if it's good,
review the Bedley Brothers on iTunes. Don't review Techlandia because it's moving away. All right, people. Well, thank you for joining us. Sound effect. We'll see if this actually works. This show could actually go away because
Hey, John, you know who we forgot to thank?
Mr. Technology. We should bring that back. That you know what? That's one of the things from Techlandia I think we'll just bring back.
Let's get stay. It can live.
I think Jeremy needs he needs a little less grumpiness in his life. So we're gonna give Jeremy a pick up. I think I saw something where maybe it was him on Facebook. Yeah, much love to Jeremy. He's doing he's on a 3D printing kick like Brian, like he thinks he's Brian Briggs or something.
I thought Brian Briggs on a VR trip.
Oh yeah. So do you know when I do the VR? I did the VR.
Are we
yesterday.
doing it again, John?
No. But I did the VR yesterday. I did the PlayStation VR. They were at my my Fred Meyer grocery store, and it makes me ill. I'm too old for moving VR. I got through it. I was on a street luge and I moved like this or whatever. But afterwards, like I wanted to stop, and she's like, "You're almost there," and I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'll say." But
you're right. I am almost there.
I was just sweating. It makes me ill. Like I can't do the VR like that. I can do the look around on Google 360 at my picture, but if I'm moving, oh no, the Minecon. I thought I was going to hurl my cookies.
Hey, John.
It was bad. Yeah.
You know how you know you're old?
How's that?
When you can't handle VR.
And on that note, we will catch you on the flip side.